Hi there, I'm Ron Young of Knowledge Associates. You can find out more of our work at www.knowledge-associates.com or feedback in the comment line below. Today's question for me, it's been quite a question asked many times over this week, is the impact of artificial intelligence on the way that we manage our knowledge. What is this going to mean for us as humankind, let alone manage knowledge? Some people are very, very fearful of what AI might mean, robotics might mean, machine intelligence might mean, all these new technologies that connect all the devices to one another, the Internet of Things, the industrial Internet of Things, how they can, through cameras and other sensors, amass huge amounts of data, big data, and they can start to analyze this, and from this they can determine pretty much what we're about. Certainly some very useful, valuable insights. Well, of course, AI, in my opinion, will have a massive effect on the way we manage our knowledge. If we look at it for a moment, human beings learn through acquiring information, new information, through their senses. We see things. We get information through seeing. We get information through hearing, feeling, through touching, information through tasting. All of our key senses are sensing information, and then we have to make sense of that. And that's the start of learning. We might say that learning, as a simple definition, is simply turning information from whatever form, from whatever source, into knowledge. Learning is turning information into knowledge, and we learn, we gain knowledge, we learn experientially. You know, we can learn through touching a hot stove. The experience of touching the hot stove teaches us not to do that again. We can learn intellectually just by listening or by reading a book, browsing the web, listening to a lecture. So there's intellectual learning, there's intellectual knowledge development, there's experiential knowledge development, experiential learning. And so we do this, and we store this information in our memories. We organize that information in our memories in certain ways that we can start to connect together events, objects, circumstances, so that we can learn, and our brains next time, through that experience, will enable us to know where to travel to our office, how to get up in the morning and brush our teeth and have a shower and eat our breakfast, do our work. It's by connecting all of these different information, experiential sources together. It makes sense in our memories, wherever our memories are. So what about artificial intelligence? Well, and the question I get asked is, what effect will artificial intelligence have on knowledge, the way we manage our knowledge, knowledge management? First of all, with the Internet of Things, we can mimic our senses. We can have cameras instead of our eyes. We can record streams of video in real time, traffic flows, by having cameras connected to street lights and surveillance posts. We can hear. Machines can hear. Machines can listen and understand language. Machines can read text and start to interpret it in more meaningful ways. So, seeing things and hearing things, at least we can mimic, machines can mimic, I should say. And of course they can store that information. Raw flow we might like to call data until we turn it into more meaningful information. But it can be stored in vast computer memories now. That's something we couldn't do before with artificial intelligence. We had the science and the mathematics to a degree, but we didn't have the computing power to store vast amounts of data and to then be able to process very, very huge amounts, which require very powerful processors. Now today we have the powerful processors and we have the economic storage of vast amounts of data to do that. And actually computers can do that in some ways better than humans. You know, in the world of managing our knowledge management, first two basic principles of why we need to better manage our knowledge is otherwise, number one, we're going to keep repeating our mistakes. And we see that. Human beings are not as good as they could be in some areas of work at recording their experiences and recording what they've learned, particularly in times of failure, and ensuring that we don't repeat those mistakes. In some industries, particularly those that are involved with human life, like air transportation, rail transportation, automobiles, whatever, or in healthcare, or in manufacturing where health and safety are important, we're pretty good at storing key lessons and ensuring that we don't repeat them. But in many, many other areas of work, we're very bad at it. We're not learning the lessons. We're continually repeating the same mistakes. Human beings either don't have the time or the desire or the motivation or the money or the incentive to do that in certain industries. They'd rather do other things. However, machines can view, can listen, can read, can understand, can store data. Machines can do that more accurately, I would suggest, than human beings. Machines can then organize data into more meaningful information and categories of information. I would argue some better than humans. And the most important thing is, if they're storing, for example, lessons learned, they will remember them 100%. There is no question of repeating the same mistakes. Intelligent autonomous systems could and should be able to record, determine, record data, turning it into meaningful information, identify key lessons and ensure that those key lessons are built in to even more improved knowledge that can be applied accurately, consistently in the future. Similarly, the second principle of KM is to first one is to not repeat the same mistakes. And the second one is to reinvent the wheel. We keep reinventing the wheel because we don't realize that somebody else, somewhere else in the organization already knew a solution to this. We don't know that, so we spend our time and effort and money actually trying to solve the problem. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of money, only to find out somebody else knew. We didn't have the systems in place to deal with that effectively. As I say, some industry sectors are better at this than others and do this, but many are not. Human beings basically tend to repeat the same mistakes and reinvent the wheel, and it seems to be an aspect of humanity. We're not that good at it. Machines can be perfect at it. They really can. They can do these things faster, more accurately, and we can rely on that far more than sometimes human. So, in that aspect of gathering data and information, creating more meaningful information, learning by turning that information into knowledge, identifying insights, identifying lessons learned, identifying new ideas, and turning all of this into better knowledge that can be used without doubt in the future is something that AI, in my opinion, will do better than human beings. Faster, most certainly. I read just this week that when machines are good enough at reading what human beings have written, these machines will be able to read everything human beings have ever written throughout our entire human civilization very rapidly. What will the machines make of that? That will be interesting. So, this main question this week: what impact will AI have on the way we manage our knowledge, knowledge management? My answer is it will have an enormous impact, and we're starting to see that already. I'll talk more in future videos about specifically machine learning, specifically the interconnectivity of everything. But right now, I just want to focus on artificial intelligence as a general term, the ability to mimic, the ability to do what humans do, to capture data, turn it into information, learn, turn it into knowledge, ideas, innovate. AI is going to have a big impact. There's a lot to be done, a lot of work, but it's going to start off with a big impact very soon.